Hey everyone, this is WobblyWallaby. Today I'll be talking about the February 2023 gacha, Music of Soul, which is an incredible headwear for magic users. Music of Soul's buff makes dealing magic damage against large monsters do 25% more magic damage. I'll be comparing Music of Soul against these past 4 meta gachas to see which one is better. I'll be using both Genos and Soul Binder to do damage tests against the Legend Dragon. Is Music of Soul worth buying? Stay tuned to find out. Music of Soul has a 5% pull rate from this month's gacha machine. Its effect is very unique, especially since magic classes typically aren't affected by size modifiers. The exceptions include Soul Binder, who have extra damage to large monsters. The 25% extra magic damage modifier is very high compared to other gachas I've seen in the past. However, how does it compare against meta gachas? For these damage tests, I chose Genos since this is one of the most popular classes for carrying legend instances these days. The stat distribution is a bit strange for Genos since you focus on strength and vitality first. As a result, I also use Soul Binder, which has a more traditional int and luck focus, which matches more closely to other magic classes. Next, how was my luck rolling this time? I started with 976 tickets. I keep rolling and rolling and rolling. It was definitely a rough month. I had 346 blue tickets left by the time I got it. If your luck rolling for gachas is as bad as mine, and you want to lessen the pain, then try Smile.one. Smile.one allows you to get discounted BCC and premiums for Ragnarok Mobile. They've been around for more than 8 years and have lots of global business partners for other games too. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check them out. Thanks to Smile.one for sponsoring this video. Next, I'll show the gear that I'm using for both characters for these damage tests. For offhand, I use the Demon Hunter's Trophy for the Ignore Magic defense. I use the Alice Star card for MVP damage. Next, I use the Dream Eater's Disguise for the extra elemental damage, the Ignore Magic defense, and the Penetration percentage random attribute. I use the Moonak Star card for the Ignore Magic defense. Next for garment, I use the Classical Robe for the Ignore Magic defense. I have the Skill Damage random attribute. For card, I use the Mayfair Lens card for the MVP damage. Next for footgear, I use the Order Guardian for the Magic Attack and the Magic Penetration random attribute. For card, I use the Familiar Star card for Magic Attack percentage. For my first accessory, I use the Heart of Molten Fire for more fire attack percentage. I use the Moonlight Tendrillion Star card for skill damage percentage and damage to non-demi-humans. For my second accessory, I use Floral Hair Clip with the Magic Attack percentage random attribute. I also use the Moonlight Tendrillion Star card. For weapon, I use the Staff of Elemental Fusion. Unfortunately, no unlimited at the moment since Chronos are unsnapping on global, so unfortunately I don't have the synthesis version of this, but this still does the most damage of all the magic weapons I have. For card, I use the Shell Chapet card for the Magic Crit chance and the Magic Crit damage. And I also use the Firebird Cheery card for the Ignore Magic defense. For face, I use the Winter Crown for the skill damage percentage. For mouth, I use Light Food for the skill damage. The mouth Honey Bunny would be better, but having max HP giving more damage would make the damage test more inconsistent, so I didn't use it. For back, I use the Refine 6 and Communist Movement, since this is common for the crit build. For tail, I use Rock Bunny for the damage to MVP monsters. For Oracle Mirror, I use the Wizardry Staff for the Ignore Magic defense. For relic, I use the Waist Size since I don't have anything else better. I do come from a physical damage background. For Genos, it does give more strength, which would equate to more damage. Here are my stat distributions for Genos. I max strength and vitality, and the remaining into luck. Yes, it looks strange, but this is the optimal setup for Genos. I have 11,000 magic attack. I have 351 strength, 180 luck, 309 vitality, and 217 int. My magic penetration is at 37.5%. I have 26% skill damage increase. I have 106 magic damage percentage, 50% magic damage increase, my wind damage is at 75%, and my fire damage is at 91%. Next for Adventure Handbook, I have 1894 magic attack. I have 64% magic attack deposit. Next for the Genos damage test. I use Wheel of Fortune, 4-leaf clover, which is also known as Koi, which is very common for the magic crit build. I hit the dragon for 1 million damage. Next I use Holy Knight Blessing, which is very popular for skill damage users. This is very good for legend runs especially since it's very high skill damage reduction. I hit the dragon for 1.24 million damage. Next I use a Refined 6 Bashful Moment, which is a very flexible headwear. This is also used by auto attack users. I hit the dragon for 1.2 million damage. Next I use Homestead of Snowy Owl. This is a utility gacha that is extremely strong if you're facing a target where your skill does extra damage to it. Also, it contributes to both fire and wind attack percentage for Genos attack. This is Music of Soul's biggest competitor under these ideal circumstances against the dragon. I hit the dragon for 1.26 million damage. Next, I use Music of Soul. Let's see if it was worth all that rolling. I hit the dragon for 1.34 million damage. Next, here's the summary for Genos. For Wheel of Fortune, it was the lowest, but that was expected. For Genos, the build doesn't focus on luck first, which is why it is lower. However, in a long-term battle, having higher magic crit chance shouldn't be discounted. Sure, your damage might be lower, but if you crit more often, then over time it is quite significant. Next, Bashful Moment is also low on this list, but I think because of the damage reductions from Legend, it just doesn't perform as well as the other gachas. Next, Holy Knight Blessing skill damage was third. The extra skill damage greatly benefits you in Legend runs where you need very high skill damage percentage. In second place is Homestead of Snowy Owl, which has the ideal scenario because of Genos using fire and wind damage versus the dragon, which is weak to fire. It was expected that the damage would be one of the best, so it shouldn't be a surprise. In first place, Music of Soul beat the competition by quite a lot. It's rare to see a comparison where the difference is that big. The 25% magic damage increase is just way too high. So for Genos, I have no doubt against large bosses that it is the best in slot. Next, I'll use Soul Binder to show the more traditional build style that most magic users have. I'll be using the exact same gear as before, so I'll skip going over all the gear again. Next, here are my stats. First for attributes, I max luck and int, which is more the traditional distribution of attributes. My magic attack is at 14,000. My luck is at 248, and int is at 383. My magic penetration is at 37.5%. My skill damage increase is at 26%. My magic damage is at 106%. My magic damage increase is at 30%. My ignore magic defense is at 176.5%. My fire damage is at 61%, as I'll be hitting the dragon with fire. First, I equip Koi. I cast self buffs, and then use Eska, and my Esma hits for 686,000. Next, I use Holy Night Blessing. I cast self buffs. I use Eska, and then my Esma hits for 794,000. Next, I use Bashful Moment. I cast self buffs. Then use Eska, and then my Esma hits for 759,000. Next, I use Homestead of Snowy Owl. I cast self buffs. Then I use Eska, and then my Esma hits for 842,000. Next, I use Music of Soul. I cast self buffs. Then use Eska, and then my Esma hits for 857,000. Finally, here are my results. For Soul Binder, the best gachas are the same as Genos. Music of Soul is the best, Homestead of Snowy Owl is the second best since it's fire damage versus the Undead Dragon. In third, the skill damage of Holy Night Blessing is great, and then Bashful Moment is the second lowest. And finally, 4-Leaf Clover is the lowest again, despite having the high luck. However, again, the consistency of the magic crit from using 4-Leaf Clover is great for long-term battles. Music of Soul is the best in slot for magic users versus large-sized MVPs, and the damage difference is quite significant. This is great news for magic users since you get a really busted gacha right at the start of 2023. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Here's a video I would recommend. Also, be sure to check out my general guides playlist if you want to see even more gacha comparisons.